Hi, this is Gary with MacMost Now. On today's episode, let's take a look at the clock app on the iPad. So when the iPad originally came out, and for a while after, there was no clock app. There's no way to set an alarm or anything like that without a third-party app. But with iOS 6, Apple added a clock app, and it's kind of a neat app that's worth looking at. So the clock app works in either landscape or portrait mode. And it starts off with the world clock. There's 4 different modes if you look along the bottom of the screen. The world clock is really cool. It allows you to put a bunch of different clocks at the top for different cities around the world, and then it shows you this map with the light zone of light and dark, and the clocks that you've got, and even it puts weather up there for each of the different cities. So you can easily add here by just tapping on the clock with a plus button in it to the right, and then add any city that you want into there. So you can, for instance, add one just by typing the first few letters, doing the search, and then it adds the clock to it. You can also select a clock and it will get larger like that. And you can edit the clocks here, rearranging the order very easily like that, or deleting one if you want. So the next mode is the alarm mode, and this one's very useful too. It gives you a grid here for the entire week and any alarms you have set. To add an alarm, hit the plus button at the top right, and then you can choose if you want the alarm to repeat on certain days, what sound for it to use, whether it will allow you to hit a snooze button, and what sort of label to give it. You can name it anything you want, and then you can set, of course, the time for it. So we can save it there, and you can see it appear there in the week. So if, say, I would add one that would repeat every weekday like that, and I'd call it my wake alarm and set it for time, you would see it appear across the calendar just like that. And then you can edit these and either go into them or remove an alarm. So very handy, setting all sorts of different alarms in a different kind of schedule, alarm for just the next day or alarm that just repeats throughout the week. The next mode is Stopwatch Mode. And in the stopwatch, you can start a timer at 0, and then you get a list of laps. So you can press the lap button and it'll record the lap time. And you get stop and start again, or stop and reset. So pretty simple functionality. I can't imagine somebody running with an iPad, but a trainer perhaps may find this very useful. So the last mode is the timer mode. Very simple. You just set a time here, and it will count down for you. You can set the sound by hitting the sounds button, and it listed at the bottom under the time. You can start, you can pause, resume, and finish early. So very useful if you need to set up your iPad to, say, time you during a presentation, or for a test, or while studying, or for any kind of work task. Very good because with the iPad's big screen, it kind of makes a nice timer to put on your desk, especially if you have a good stand for your iPad. So here's a quick look at the clock app on the iPad. Of course, a reminder, you need iOS 6 to have this app. And of course, if you have an iPhone or iPod Touch, you also have a clock app there that has many of the same functions. The iPad app's a little bit nicer with that map and temperatures for the different cities, and the week view of the alarms. Hope you found this useful. Till next time, this is Gary with MacMost Now. Want more video tutorials? Just go to MacMost.com, click on the videos link at the top of the page, and then you can view all of the hundreds of MacMost videos by category.